61 News at 10 starts now.
We are following some breaking news tonight. Police say the suspect accused of slaying 10 people at a dance studio in California shot and killed himself.
Community is the best remedy to dealing with episodes of hate like this.
But we're breaking down how the community right here at home is reacting this evening.
So even with Roe in place, it just wasn't enough.
And how abortion rights activists are reacting here in Connecticut on what would have been the 50th anniversary of Roe versus Wade. Your news at 10 starts right now. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here on the News at 10 on the CW. I'm Julia LeBlanc in for Carmen. As you just saw right there, we begin with a weather watch tonight. We've been seeing some storms and definitely a lot of clouds over the past few days. So let's toss things over to meteorologist Ryan Breton. You got a lot going on that radar behind you there,
Absolutely.
Ryan.
Julia, nice to have you with us tonight.
Yes, glad to be here.
We do have a mix of weather going on for you. Unfortunately, a lot of rain across most of the state right now. It's a steady rain in a lot of central Connecticut, but the northern part of the state on the border, yeah, we have some snow falling in spots. Granby at 33 degrees, even Avon at 33. And notice we're below freezing in Norfolk, Bantam, and right at freezing in Union. So near and along the Mass border, there has been a little bit of snow mixing in. A couple of snowflakes trying to mix down in Hartford, but it's mostly rain right now at 35. And this is all rain at the moment at the shoreline. Through the rest of the night, it's a heavy rain that will be pretty soaking at times during the middle of the night. And watch the rain snow line. It may retreat a bit up into the Berkshires, but then start coming south again tomorrow morning. So out the door at 6 a.m., a lot of us dealing with rain. At this point, the heaviest is over, but there still will be rain showers out there. And then during the day tomorrow, this rain snow line is actually going to move southeast. We'll see the rain showers change over to snow showers tomorrow afternoon. And there may be a burst of snow for a while tomorrow afternoon. But notice the temperatures. They are around or just over freezing. So there won't be a ton of accumulation, but there may be some slippery spots developing tomorrow afternoon. The most accumulation in the hills where it's snowing now, 3 to 5 inches in northern Litchfield County, 1 to 3 inches through the rest of the hill towns, and in that gray shaded area, most of that accumulation coming tomorrow afternoon. We have another storm, believe it or not, coming in on Wednesday, a weather watch alert for this too. We'll talk about it coming up.
Ryan, thank you so much. Right now, we're continuing to follow the news out of California, where 10 people are dead following a shooting during a Lunar New Year celebration. Now, Lunar New Year is a huge milestone for an estimated 2 billion people across the world. Now, this is video right here from China to Hong Kong and even Cuba, where families celebrate the Lunar New Year with family and friends. But unfortunately, the festivities were cut short for one community, as again, at least 10 people were killed and another 10 hospitalized in Monterey Park, California. The shooting happened at a dance studio near a Lunar New Year festival, according to Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Now, police have identified the suspect as 72-year-old Hu Can Tran. Police say he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound when police approached a white van he was traveling in about a half an hour from the original crime scene.
When officers exited their patrol vehicle to contact the occupant, they heard one gunshot. Our sheriff's SWAT team approached and cleared the van and determined the suspect sustained a self-inflicted gunshot wound and was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators conducted a search of the vehicle and determined the male inside the van was the mass shooting suspect.
But even with the suspect now dead, there's still a lot of unanswered questions.
We don't know if this is specifically a hate crime defined by law, but who walks into a dance hall and guns down 20 people?
Now, authorities say the gunman tried and failed to unleash more deadly violence at a second dance hall in Alhambra, after leaving Monterey Park. The sheriff says that two, quote, heroes disarmed him and the suspect fled. no one at the second dance hall was injured. Now, President Biden expressing his condolences for the victims of the shooting earlier this morning. The president wrote in a tweet that he and the First Lady were, quote, praying for those killed and injured, and that he is monitoring this situation closely. Now, again, as we mentioned, still a lot of unanswered questions here, as we still have no motive yet for this shooting. That's something that will come after a very long investigation. But the tragedy in Monterey Park is hitting home for the Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders right here in Connecticut. Now, Governor Ned Lamont announcing just moments ago that flags will be lowered to half-staff in honor of the victims of the shooting and will remain there until later this week. Now, Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner is live now here in New Haven, where she spoke to people who say that they are in shock that this happened on a happy celebration for them in California. DeAndrea, what are you hearing from people? What else are you hearing?
Well, Julia, one person that I spoke with today told me that this tragedy, it hits really close to home for him and his family. But another person that I spoke with today said this is all the more reason to celebrate Lunar New Year, because today it's about togetherness and community. There is power in community.
Thank you.
And on days like Lunar New Year, when college students like Daniel Jang is forging his path in his new home for a while, Hong Kong Market brings him a sense of community.
You know, Lunar New Year, it's usually something I spend with family, and now being in college, being away, and not having them to celebrate, originally the prospect seemed a little lonely, but I think as soon as I stepped in here and saw everyone just like shopping for the snacks, the groceries that are so familiar to me, it definitely felt like I was at home again.
Originating in multiple countries in East Asia, Lunar New Year is filled with rich culture and tradition that centers around the hope for good fortune and prosperity.
Where we come from, Lunar New Year is like a big tradition. We're always like gathering with family and like cooking big dinners together.
But on the eve of this Lunar New Year, the community of Monterey Park, California, was hit with tragedy and grief when a gunman killed 10 people and injured 10 more in a Monterey Park ballroom shooting. Connor Hua is from there.
I used to work in Monterey Park, so it was kind of close to home. And just knowing that it happened on the eve of Lunar New Year was a little traumatic.
State Attorney General William Tung tweeted in part, "We are so much stronger than the hateful, and that is why we will never yield to fear." Also saying the Asian and Pacific Islander community will persevere.
Our hearts go out to the people in Monterey Park, and this is a great tragedy. But I bet you the people of Monterey Park would agree. We are not going to let hate and violence take away our love and joy and time with our families.
Jang echoes this.
It made celebration feel especially relevant and important, just that we need to remind ourselves that we're a community and that we need to stand together. And grief and celebration, sometimes they seem incompatible, but sometimes being in community is the best remedy to dealing with episodes of hate like this.
Now, the two young men from Yale that I spoke with today, they did go on to celebrate Lunar New Year today. They told me they brought some of their favorite traditional foods that remind them from home, celebrating with their friends here today, a home away from home. In New Haven, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61 News.
DeAndrea, thank you so much. Our hearts are with everyone who was impacted in some way by that tragedy. Now, 10:08, we are moving on to a developing story out of Middletown, right here at home, with multiple people taken to the hospital following a serious crash. This happened on Route 9 around 2 a.m. this morning. Now, a car was reported to be speeding through the town of Portland. Middletown police attempted to stop the car, but the driver then drove through a red light at the intersection of Hartford Ave and Route 9, colliding with another car. Police say the speeding car was earlier reported to be stolen. Right now, they're still working to identify all the people involved before releasing their names. They are asking anyone with information to please give them a call. And people in an apartment building in Hartford are still without heat and hot water tonight. This comes after a car struck a set of gas meters on the corner of Herald and Blue Hills Ave That happened on Saturday morning. Now, though nobody was injured, the car struck the meters using it to service an 8-unit apartment building. They do hope to have the gas back up by tomorrow morning, they tell us. And another follow-up to a story we brought you last night right here on Fox 61 at 10 p.m. We're learning 4 Meriden firefighters were hospitalized after a 3-alarm fire, which happened yesterday evening. Now, firefighters tell us a propane tank exploded, leading to 12 911 calls and a dramatic rescue where crews pulled a teenage boy from the top floor of a building. Now, several firefighters were hurt, but they say it could have been much worse if it wasn't for 2 good Samaritans, 2 people in the right place at the right time. 2 plumbers, we're told, sprung into action using tools to break into the home to help whoever needed that help.
When we first broke in, they actually thought we were breaking into the home. They didn't know the fire was happening.
Now, they pulled a mom and her children out, but realized a teenage boy was still left upstairs. Eventually, when firefighters got there, they were able to pull that teenage boy out, leaving 4 of them and the teen hospitalized. But the fire department ultimately, of course, thanking those 2 men for their efforts.
They did a great job. A lot of credit to them for that. And there were reports of a person on the number 3 floor. The firefighters who were here tonight, they gave it their all. And they, they went above and beyond. They always do, but I can't say enough about them tonight.
Now, the Hereford Current reports that the man stuck inside the house was listed as being in critical but stable condition at the Jacoby Medical Center in the Bronx. We're also learning the injured firefighters were released from the hospital this morning with burns and smoke inhalation. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. And on to another follow-up this evening. Police have now identified the victim in New Haven's 5th deadly shooting of the year. Now, police say 33-year-old Michael Wint of New Haven was killed. This happened around 1 a.m. Saturday morning on Whaley Ave. They say he was found inside of his car and transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Now, another man later also showed up to the hospital with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. Now, police at this point do believe that the 2 shootings are related, but no further details were available. Of course, we will provide you those details as we get them. And we're staying in the Elm City, where we're sharing a happy ending to what really was a scary story. We're now getting a look at the body camera video that shows a New Haven police officer springing into action to save somebody's life. Now, 2 officers actually stepped up to help a man who was about to jump from the Ferry Street Bridge. Thankfully, officers Greg Whityak and Tyler Evans were able to convince him not to. Now, we got a chance to speak with Officer Whityak, who tells us that his skills he learned in crisis intervention definitely came into play here.
His situation, I could tell by his body language that he was kind of more open to conversation, so we took more of a soft approach. So just kind of called out to him, waited for him to respond, and once he turned around, we just started a conversation.
Now, Officer Whityak says the person asked for a hug, and of course he granted that wish. If you or someone you know is facing a mental health crisis, there's that hug right there. Just a beautiful moment. Please call 988 for support. All right,